Tilt is something that affects all gamers, new and old, that play any sort of game, whether it's by themselves or with a team. I have tips from a fighting game legend that can help us combat the frustration that is tilt. Someone who's done it all, someone who's become a hero from their region across the world, and someone who just really has honed down how to avoid that tilt. I'll reveal who this legend is by the end of the video, but for now, let's explain what is tilt.
Dude, I give people wins, this motherfucker sucks!
Why is he playing ranked right now?
Sit on the fucking ground. No more winning because I suck.
Chapter 1. Defining tilt. So tilt is a term that originated from the game of poker. It stands for a state of mental or emotional confusion or frustration in which a player adopts a suboptimal strategy, usually resulting in the player becoming overly aggressive. Basically, when you're tilted, your brain's not working logically. You're basically mad. Think of like when you have an argument with a loved one, and sometimes you might say stuff you don't like, or you might do things you don't want to do. And by the end of it all, when the frustration is gone, you wonder why you even said those things, because none of them helped you get towards the goal of making up or whatever you were actually fighting about. The definition of tilt actually started a little differently for me. I always thought of tilt from playing pinball games. So back in the day when you played pinball games, those are really old, might be dating myself, but there's something you can do where you quite literally tilt the machine to try to get it into the holes of the pinball machine to get a high score. That's basically cheating. And the game didn't like that. So very often when that happens, the screen would read tilt and it would stop moving and you'd have no control of what's happening. And then the ball would sink and you would lose the game. Kind of like a metaphor for how it feels like when you are actually tilted in your video game or just in life. Tilt can really take away all the control you have from a situation, which is why it's so frustrating. So ultimately, it's like having a debuff on your screen. You know what's happening, you know what it's doing, but you can't really get rid of it until it's run its course. It feels very out of your control. There's so many things that can trigger it too, from someone on your team leaving the game or just flaming, or if you drop something like a combo in a fighting game, or you miss a shot in a shooter by yourself when you're solo queue. It can really start and stem up from so many different things that basically feel like they're out of your control. But what can we do about that? Chapter 2. Allow yourself space to feel. Some people might say that you shouldn't be negative. If you have something bad to say, don't say it. I disagree. Forget all that. If you have something negative to say, you should absolutely say that shit. Let it out, but maybe not all to the person who you want to direct it towards. Let me explain. In therapy, it's often not good to suppress your emotions. Frustration and tilt can kind of be one of those. You don't want to hold that in. You don't want to have all that negative energy bottled inside of you. Think of like a balloon. The more you blow into it, as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, it'll eventually explode, and all that air has to go somewhere in a loud pop. It's very discomforting. It's very loud, but the idea is you can let it fill up, but not too much, right? So what I'm saying is let that negative energy out, but don't direct it just at that person. In fact, maybe write it down somewhere. You can write it down, get all your thoughts out, however the language needs to be, whatever words are in those that head of yours, get them out onto a piece of paper and then just rip it up, toss it away. You can consider it handled, right? Because things are often a lot worse up here than they really are in reality. So if you can get them out there and then just toss it, throw it in the trash, give it a physical presence that you can control, that's very powerful. It's a powerful skill to have. And then once you've got that negativity out there, you've let it sit within you and you've like written it and you've expelled it in a physical way. You know, now what do we do with the negativity once it's actually out there? Once you've actually gotten rid of it? Chapter 3, redirect negativity. Quite often, when we let the negativity out, it's not always directed outwardly. Sometimes it's internal. I suck. I'm the worst. I stink. Why did I do that? It can be so easy to self-deprecate. Some of the greatest players I know, they get down on themselves. They're the most critical of their play. We can be our greatest ally or our worst enemy. And sometimes we're both at the same time. It's really tough. So what you need to do is let that negativity out. It's okay. People might be like, don't be so mean to yourself. You know, you wouldn't say that to your friend, blah, blah, blah. No, I'd say that to my friend too. I'm giving you a different approach. Tell yourself you suck. Tell yourself you're bad. Tell yourself that was the worst shit I've ever seen, but then flip it, invert it. So at the end of it, add something to it to ensure that you're not just putting out the negative energy for no reason. You're putting it out there because you want it out. It's a strategic choice. And then you're reinforcing in your mind, this is your own decision. And now you can have control of it. Perfect example. I'll often say, I suck as soon as I drop a combo, or I'll be like, I'm the worst when I miss a shot, a pivotal skill shot or something. But immediately after, I will say, it's all good. Or dang, that was terrible, but I'm chilling. These phrases can be triggers for you, positive triggers to remind you that you're in control. Even if you're frustrated, even if things around you are just the worst, and then it's pouring into your play and now you feel like the worst, say you suck. You probably do in that moment, but it's all good. We're chilling. We're gonna get through it. No big deal. These types of phrases can have so much power. Words in general just have so much power. So use that to your advantage. But don't let people lie to you and say, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it. Don't be mean. Fuck all that. Be mean to yourself, but be mean in a deliberate way and then bring it all together. Bring it in for a reason. You know, don't just be a dickhead to yourself for no reason. You wouldn't do that to a regular person. But with all that positivity, what now? What do we do with it? Chapter 4, focus on what you can control. This is a very common age-old adage, right? You can't control people. This is very true. Okay? Have you ever been in a situation where you're at a movie theater and someone's just being so loud, right? You're trying to enjoy the scene and they just won't shut the hell up. Well, you can try to tell them to shut up, but how often does that work out? You can tell them they're being too loud and maybe sometimes they'll chill out, but more often than not, you don't even want the responsibility, right? It really stinks that you can't control things around you, but that's the point of us being human. We have our own free will. Knowing that you can't control them, it's good to just center back into what is within your control. And usually that's your perception, your environment, and how you react to them. Those are things we can't control. If it's raining outside, I can be mad at the sky for raining, or I can bring my umbrella. If it's way too hot out and I'm worried I'll get sunburned, I can yell at the sun and point a gun at it. Actually, this might work. We're just gonna point a gun at it. Or I could put on sunscreen, stay in the shade, things like that. I can control my environment. I can control how I perceive things. I can control how I respond to them. Now, what I will say, and what's unique about this is, although this advice is very generic, very much something I think most people would agree to, I think what helps too is to flip it a bit. Let's consider the opposite effect. What if we do try to control people? Well, we mentioned if you do it, it's not really gonna work. But what I didn't mention is there's a better way to do it. So remember all that positivity we channeled before? Well, once you're in a space where you can control the negativity outward and then reel it back in with positivity, you'll have a lot more control over what you want to say to people that are tilting you, that are part of this external environment that it's making it hard to focus and lock in. Instead of telling that person, hey, you suck, or hey, shut the hell up, I'm trying to watch the movie, just be like, hey man, if it's all right, can we tone it down a little bit? Or I'm so sorry to bother you, I'm really trying to enjoy this film, I know you are too. You know, you can phrase things differently. You can try to control them, but in a different way, with a little more positive energy and a little more of that actual growth mentality that you've worked on by trying to avoid tilt in healthy ways. So don't give up on that part, right? We balance. We want the same result, which is them to listen to us, but there's another way that works that's not so negative and not so forceful that can still achieve the same result with a little more empathy. That's what it's about. Now, we've been talking about this the whole video, but who is this hero? Who encompasses all of these values and has been able to give us such insight?
We have leveled up our power level for the top 24 with I Heart Justice on the mic, one of the people I respect and admire the most in this community.
I heart justice! I heart justice! I heart justice! I heart justice!
I heart justice.
Now, these are really not my words. I don't think I'm the craziest thing that ever happened to the fighting game scene, but I did play a low tier hero for a very long time. And my team brought a lot of respect to the genre in the sense that like you can kind of do anything you want. I think fighting games are a lot like that, especially some of the older ones where identity is so powerful. And that's something I never really want to let go of. Right. And so I made it my mission statement to hold on to that, even when it was hard, even when things were challenging, even when I got so tilted at myself, at my character choices, at the meta, the way that things were evolving and things got more challenging for the characters that I was playing as the game got more developed. You know, you don't got time for all that. You don't have time to be tilted. And I certainly couldn't have beaten some of the greats in the game if I held on to that tilt too long. So these are just some words of wisdom that I think helped me and I would have loved to hear when I was younger. So hopefully they help you and you can enjoy games a lot more, or whatever it is you're doing that you want to fuel that competitive spirit for. Remember, your feelings are valid. You really want them to come out. You really want your feelings to come out in a healthy way, but don't curb them either. It's okay to be mad. I like being mad. Sometimes I need to just say that shit and it's okay. If you like what you heard here, if you like this type of video, please let me know. I'll try to make some more of them. Throw down in the comments something you'd like to hear some insight on, whether it be surrounding competitive fighting games, streaming, content creation, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, whatever you think. Let me know down below. And also talk about a time that maybe you were tilted and you had a hard time getting over it. Let us know if you got over it or not. Hopefully these tips help you. See y'all in the next one. Have a good one.
Hold it! I just want to give a huge shout out to my patrons. And if you want to support the House of Justice and all of the House of Justice endeavors, as well as the people behind the scenes, editors, artists, please consider supporting through the Patreon. thank you guys so much. Without further ado, here's the rest of the outro.
Take that.